Hello, everyone. I wanted to take the time to kind of share how I perceive the world as a biracial individual and how I feel that the world views me. I think this is a especially important matter that exists today as we're seeing more and more interracial couples. Although I feel society has evolved when acknowledging mixed race people, there's definitely room to grow in terms of how mixed race people are viewed in society. I want to acknowledge that throughout my story, I will use the labels biracial and mixed or mixed race interchangeably. Please know that they do mean the same thing. So let's get started. I was born to Aaron Ferguson and Zell at that time. My dad is black or African American, but I prefer to use the label black. And then my mom is Caucasian or white, and she does have a Jewish religious background. At the time, my dad was 23 and my mom was 18. So being young parents and being, in an interracial relationship definitely brought its challenges. Throughout my story, you will see these little memes that I've put in throughout to add a little bit of humor of things that being biracial or mixed you tend to experience growing up. So this is a very important part of me. This is pretty much my whole family. I've tried to organize the picture, so on one side I had my white side of my family, and then on the left is my black side. But for me growing up, it wasn't segregated like that. When I had a party, but all my family was there, both my black and my white, so I really had this ignorance to the divide or to the separation of color until I went to school and really learned about the black and the white and being segregated. But for me, I was pretty much in an ignorant bliss, and this was my family, and this is just who they were. So again, I just wanted to, kind of show you, still in the picture of me in the middle is when I was pregnant with now my 2-year-old daughter, Journey. My family just comes together. I don't have like a black party or a black baby shower and then have my Jewish baby shower. We've all tend to just come together. So my education was probably the most important part when it came to really having to struggle with what I was and who I was. I remember really, I have brown skin, so you definitely couldn't be considered white, so you must be black. Majority of your friends were black, so, you're more like us. But then when it came, down to certain aspects, I was definitely made to feel like the other. For example, there was a time I remember we were in PE class and there was a conversation happening between two of my classmates. One was male, one was female, and the girl asked the guy, well, who has the best hair in the class? And he said Heather. And I remember her saying, well, she's not, she doesn't count because her mom's white. So being, kind of put out in certain situations where I didn't qualify or I couldn't be considered because I wasn't full-blooded black. So this is probably one of the worst experiences that you have to go through when you are mixed or biracial, is filling out applications that force you to choose only one. And sadly, this is how it was for a really long time. I know recently they do have options on some applications where you can pick more than one race, but for the most part, you have to choose one or the other. many people with mixed race struggle with their identity because society has forced us to identify with only one of them, when in reality we're more than just that one race, and we really should be able to celebrate the multicultural background that we have. So a lot of times you will find, biracial people struggling with who they are and what they are, and like me, I struggled growing up with celebrating my white side and my black side around certain people. If I was hanging out with my black friends, I tended to be, if you want to, I don't know how this is, but more black. I didn't talk about the alternative music that I listened to, like Dave Matthews Band or Limp Bizkit. And then when I was around my white friends, I would talk about those things. So really just hiding a lot of yourself because you feel that you won't be included or you won't fit in. So high school was really interesting for me. I actually moved up to the Bay Area, so I went to a whole different school with a whole different environment, and it was really shocking to me because most of the students at Homestead High, which is in Cupertino, the black, or what you considered the black population, majority of them were biracial. So going from LA, where majority, if not all of my peers were black and Latino, moving up here to now most of my peers being white and Asian, and there being such a small community of black students, and in that small community majority of them were biracial. It was really astonishing, honestly, and it was probably the first time where I felt dominant, because the pure black or full black students were the minority. So I did pretty well at Homestead and ended up going to Cal State Northridge right out of high school. And from there, I've been really invested into my education, and I think that is because I did struggle with who I was and identifying what I was as a youth, that I really took advantage of education and used it as a blanket to be more to be labeled more than just biracial, to be labeled more than just a woman, but now I was intelligent. So I think that gave me a sense of comfort growing up and even into adulthood. Now as an adult, I don't struggle with my identity as I did with the youth, but I definitely don't think I have the pressure of society like you do when you're younger in terms of your peers and your environment with school. So as I shared earlier, my mom had me very young in life, and then I do have a younger sister who is 24. But my mom then went on to remarry my current stepfather, and they have 3 children together, which is Skylar, Ryder, and Bella, and they are Native American, Latino, and white. And it's funny, but you wouldn't think that we are related because we don't look alike, but we definitely do have the same mom. Having my daughter Journey Rose in 2014 was truly a blessing. I'm also, grateful that I'm going to be able to help her, develop her self-identity as a biracial woman. Seeming that I went through those things, I know what it's like, and I can relate to her, and I can help guide her and help empower her to celebrate her, her multicultural background. So I have found a lot of different children's books, adult reads, that talk about growing up or being biracial in our society, and they're awesome. The messages are awesome, especially in the children's books. Thank you all for spending the last 10 or so minutes with me looking at the world of how I see it as a biracial individual.